My name is Elellanar Wade, 71 years old and a widow for nearly 2 years. In that time, I've learned the world grows quick to dismiss you once it believes you've got nothing left to offer. Gray hair makes you invisible, soft, harmless, forgotten. But that night, hidden behind a tower of lilies and roses at my daughter's wedding, I felt anything but harmless. From the shadows, I watched Lauren glide across the dance floor in satin white. Her new husband, Ethan Crowell, wearing the grin of a man who believed he had won more than just a bride. His parents floated through the crowd like royalty, shaking, hands soaking up attention, never glancing my way. My table, tucked far from the center, felt less like oversight, more like exile. When Ethan finally approached me, the light caught on his cufflinks as though the room itself had dressed him in authority. "Mrs. Wade," he said warmly, "let me take you to dinner, just the two of us. Talk about family matters." His smile was polished, rehearsed. I set my glass down, letting the water cool my tongue. "Family matters?" I echoed lightly, though the edge beneath my words was sharp enough to cut. He didn't flinch. Instead, he straightened his tie, every movement confident, certain of the game he thought he was playing. "Ideas that could make life easier for all of us," he added. Let the silence answer him. He walked away, scanning the room, a hunter, disguised as a gentleman, and I knew then, whatever game he was starting, I would finish. 3 days later, he called. His voice oozed through the phone, syrupy, coaxing. "Mrs. Wade, that dinner we talked about, how about tomorrow night? Quiet. Place discreet." I glanced at the note pinned to my fridge in my own hand. "Stay invisible." Paul, my late husband, once told me that in chess, the most dangerous piece is the one your opponent forgets to watch. I kept my tone apologetic. "Tomorrow works. Not much for fine dining, though." Ethan laughed softly. "That's the beauty of this place. You'll feel right at home." When the line went dead, I stood still in my kitchen, knife half buried in a pear, the silence heavy. Men like Ethan don't circle widows without reason. And reasons that urgent always smell of money. The next evening, sky was bruised lavender and gray when I reached Portland. Ethan was already waiting at the waterfront restaurant, glass walls glittering with candlelight. He kissed my cheek lightly. "You look wonderful," he said, but his eyes didn't hold warmth, only calculation. Over wine I didn't bother naming. He leaned close, lowering his voice. "You're alone now. It's a big house. All those decisions, it can get overwhelming, and people might take advantage of your trusting nature." He slid a manila folder across the table. Inside, power of attorney, control over accounts, medical authority. In his words, it was protection. In truth, it was a cage. I closed the folder slowly. This is a lot to take in. He smiled, but behind it was hunger. That night, long after, I returned home to my quiet house on the bluff. I descended to the basement. Cold concrete steps carried me into Paul's secret life. Behind an old bookcase, a latch clicked open. Steel safe revealed files, ledgers, and a thick envelope with my name written in Paul's hand. My fingers trembled as I opened it. "If you're reading this, Ellie, someone is trying to take what I built. More than $30 million sits in trust. Trust Clara Benson. Trust yourself. Don't let anyone near it without a fight." His words chilled me more than the basement air. Paul hadn't known Ethan, but he had known predators like him. By morning, I was on the first train to Boston. Clara Benson greeted me in a narrow brick office by the harbor, tall, sharp-edged. Her handshake carried the weight of closed deals and broken liars. "Paul said you might come," she said, ushering me in. "I wish it were under better circumstances." She listened as I laid out Ethan's performance, his folder, his smile, his pretense of concern. "It's moving fast," Clara said finally. "That means he's in trouble, and he thinks you're an easy mark." A thin smile touched my lips. "Then maybe it's time we let him keep thinking that." Clara's eyes narrowed. "If you're willing, we can build a case. But you'll have to play along until he exposes himself." I met her gaze. "Been playing along for 2 years. I can manage a little longer." 2 days later, I called Ethan, my voice soft open. "I've been thinking about what you said. Maybe you're right. Maybe I need help." His pause was short, filled with satisfaction. "I'll bring the paperwork tomorrow." The next afternoon, he arrived sharp in his suit, folder, and gleaming pen in hand. "We'll go through it line by line," he assured me. I let my eyes skim the dense text, glasses sliding low on my nose. "And if I change my mind?" He chuckled, dismissive. "These agreements are permanent, Eleanor, to protect you from impulsive decisions." His slip arrogance peeking through charm was caught by the transmitter, clipped beneath my sweater. I closed the folder. "I'll need more time." His jaw tightened before the smile returned. That was the crack Clara had been waiting for. We set the stage. My living room wired with recorders. Clara and her contacts waiting. I called Ethan. Again, made my voice fragile. "I think you were right all along. I've been feeling vulnerable." The word tasted like iron, but I let it linger. His inhale was sharp, victorious. "I'll be there tomorrow." At 3 sharp, his sedan rolled up my drive, a notary trailing behind. Papers spread across my coffee table like weapons disguised as safety nets. I signed one page, then another, slow and deliberate. "You know," I murmured, setting the pen down, "Paul might have had more tucked away than anyone realized." His eyes flickered, greed breaking the surface. "How much more?" he asked. That was the moment. Clara's signal came from the hallway. 2 plainclothes officers stepped in. "Ethan Crowell, you're under arrest for attempted exploitation of an elder." His color drained as his gaze shot to me. I smiled faintly. "Consider yourself protected." At the courthouse, I watched him stripped of confidence, sitting beside a lawyer too young and too green to mask desperation. Recordings of his own. Voice filled the room, soft, coaxing, dangerous. Promises of safety if only I surrendered everything. The judge's face betrayed little, but the tightening at her mouth was enough. When the gavel fell, the sound was final. Conspiracy, fraud, exploitation. Ethan's name became a cautionary whisper. Clara and I weren't finished. With Paul's fortune and Clara's precision, the Harbor Shield Foundation was born. Retired detectives, a forensic accountant, a digital investigator, we built an army. Letters began to arrive. Widows reclaiming homes, retirees protected from scams. Each thank you note was a blade turned against men like Ethan. Lauren came once, her eyes restless, her voice brittle. She claimed ignorance of Ethan's true schemes. But ignorance is not innocence. "Trust is borrowed, Lauren," I told her quietly. "And you let him spend it all?" She left with tears unshed, and I let the distance remain. Some bonds heal only when left broken. By summer, Ethan was serving a long sentence. Harbor Shield was holding workshops, giving people tools to spot predators before they struck. Clara pressed me to speak at the first one. Standing before a crowd, I told them the truth. People like Ethan don't wear warning labels. They wear smiles. Sometimes even at your own family's wedding. Laughter rippled knowing, not bitter. That night, back at my house, I opened the windows to the sea. The gulls cried, the tide whispered against the shore. Age doesn't mean retreat. It can mean strategy, precision, and the freedom to fight. Battles worth winning. And as the sun dropped into the horizon, I knew this was only the beginning.